Greetings and various assorted salutations. What we're going to be doing today is taking a look at Google Docs. This is presuming that you are signed into your school account and you're using your school account G Suite. So from the website google.com, you can see that it looks more or less the same, except for now up here you can see you may have a sign-in image. If you haven't set a picture, it's going to have a letter or some number or something up here. But this is how you know you're signed in. Or it will, if you're not, it'll say sign in as an option. But you can see that these nine squares, that's a menu button. Sometimes it's dots in programs, sometimes it's sometimes it's squares, but it varies from thing to thing. Now here, when you click on it, you've got all your options. You've got Drive, Sheets, Slides. This may vary from user to user based on what permissions your administrator have allowed you to have. But we're going to look at Google Docs today. If you are familiar with how Microsoft Word works, it's very similar. A lot of this stuff is very, very similar because it's a word processing program. It's designed for typing. The main reason you might use Google Docs is Google Docs the Google apps run a bit cleaner and quicker when you're on the internet, and it's good for collaboration. Word is more powerful for more complex editing or things you plan on printing out, because the amount of Microsoft Word has a lot of controls that some more professional publishing industries might use. Anyways, when you open up, you can open up templates if you need them, but here's a blank document. In general, this is probably the easiest to work with. If you need to change the page and make it landscape and whatnot, that is found in the page setup under File. And you can change the page size, the color, and the margins. I prefer half-inch margins for everything, and that's because it'll still print, but you get more space. But most people use 1-inch margins. It really doesn't matter, especially when you're virtual, though. Up here is all your standard controls, as you know, for using this program. The share button, as I've talked about before, it's the same in all Google applications. And so like right now, this document I've created is only for me, but if I want to change the share properties, I could do that. Now, this is an important feature that you may or may not be aware of, but let's say you just created a document and you want to store it in a specific folder. Like say you're like me and you store things in specific folders, and the folders determine how the file is shared, not the individual file. You can move things by clicking this button. And then you can pick things in here. You can pick places to save documents. So we're going to move this here. And see, it says, are you aware that everyone with this permission has the same permission as the folder? And you click Move to agree. And it updates you on this. You can dismiss these or they'll go away eventually automatically. This is another important, if you want to find, if you're one of the people who's more used to like websites and web browsing, documents you use a lot, you can star them and make them kind of your favorites. This is another important button, and this is if you work offline. So imagine you're one of our students or one of our teachers who's in and out of web service, and you want to make sure that you can work on some things offline. This is an important button to set up, and as you can see, this document is not currently configured for offline work. It's saved to the drive, it's saved on the internet, but you can't really access it when you're on the computer. So let's go and turn that on for this document. And then it's going to ask you. Now remember, if you're using a public computer, this is not a recommended action, but since you're being issued a computer, students are, teachers are, staff, this is a nice feature. And now offline is enabled. Essentially what this will do is if you go offline, what will happen is you can continue editing the document, and the document tracks the changes you've made. And then when you get back on the internet connection and the drive runs an update, it takes all the changes you've made offline and uploads them to the document, updating it. So this is a very important feature to turn on if you're one of the people who's working offline. For a couple more collaborative tips, one of the things you can do is if you have multiple people working on a document, or you made some changes and you're not sure you like them and you want to roll back to a previous version, you can view the user history in here. And you can see who's viewed the document, you can see changes that have been made, you can see who the document's been shared with and who's opened it up, and you can change any privacy settings here. Some documents will have a comment history, and you can actually get it so that you get email notifications when somebody makes a comment. Comments are used more in collaboration or more when you have a document that's a work in progress. So actually, let me pull up a document that actually has some comments already, because a blank document is not very useful by itself. So this is a document I've made, put in comments. And essentially, you can see the comments over here off to the side. And basically, comments are used where you don't want it on the page itself, but you want to have a conversation about this is why I did this, or I think we should change this, things like that. And then if you're another user, there are some things you can do with people's comments. You can click resolve, and basically resolve means you agree with it, and that comment is kind of pushed aside. And then you can pull it up in the comment history if you ever want to look at the things you've resolved. So the comment section can be a place where you make decisions and talk about the document. But let's actually go in and how you make a comment. So if you want to make a comment on something, highlight it. You'll notice this plus sign appears, and you can add a comment. Sample comment. Now you, the user, have some options. You can edit the comment. You can delete the comment. You can get a link to this comment if you're on a chat or something, or an email. You can actually email, hey, can you check this specific comment, and then you paste this link. The other thing you can do is you can reply to comments by clicking on them. And so I can't show you exactly for confidentiality issues, but I've been in conversations where people just have an ongoing conversation in a comment about how to do something. There's also a feature called chat. However, this may not always be enabled on documents that you're using. But no. Let's see here. The last feature I kind of want to point out, let's jump back to, well, actually no, we'll leave it in here. The last feature I want to kind of point out that you can use is something called the table of contents and headings. This is used to organize your document. Now you might naturally put headings on pages and make them bold and make them stand out. However, you can make it so that the computer recognizes that you are trying to communicate, that this is a heading, that this is a chapter title, things like that. And so to do that, it's very similar across all programs. But you see that over here where you got the font information, and then you click on heading, and you have different options. So most of the text is going to be what we call the normal text. That's everything, paragraphs, things like that. The title obviously is the head of the page, but the most useful headings are heading 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason for that is you can generate a table of contents that allows you to jump around between these. So, and this is the table of contents that I've put into this document. You can put in a table of contents wherever you want. All you have to do is click Insert, or click where on the page you want the table of contents to start, and then click Insert. Where did it go? And you put in table of contents. It's grayed out right now because I've clicked on the table of contents, and you can't insert an insert of a table of contents. But anyways, now you have two options. There's one where you can get the links to things, and the nice thing about the links is if you need to jump around a document, you can do that. Now obviously I need to update mine, which you can click on this button here, because as you're editing the document, the table of contents may fall out of date, but you just hit that little round button that pops up and it updates all of them. So let's jump to This is towards the middle of the document, and you can jump to here. And as you can see, this is a heading 1 style. If you're wondering what the different headings do, it indents things differently. So like, this is a heading 2, this is a heading 1. That's kind of what the idea is behind that. Anyways, this is just the very bare bone basics of how to use Google Docs, some of its unique features, and then table contents. Microsoft has this feature as well, but this is a very important feature the longer your documents get. In any case, I hope this helps, and until later.